Where I'll be focusing on three different countries. The three different countries I will be focusing on is Nepal, Brazil, and Ireland. Nepal is an underdeveloped country, which means they lack resources and a large number of their population is in poverty. Brazil is a developing country, which means they still face these implications that Nepal faces, but they have a little bit more resources to help them. And finally, Ireland is a developed country, which means they have many resources to help them with these implications and factors. However, they still do face certain implications. So, looking at the country of Nepal, I thought that it would be kind of cool to see where it is located on the map. So you can see right here it's outlined in red and it's between China and India. Looking at Brazil, you can see it's kind of below Mexico. And looking at Ireland, you can see that it's across from the United Kingdom. So, moving on to the main focus of my presentation, I will be talking about different countries. We can conclude that between each country there are similarities and differences in the developmental status. So, each country has specific factors that lead to these similarities and differences in their developmental status. Similarities and differences will be compared through global health financing and the implementation, humanitarian efforts, and health priorities. So, moving ahead, first we have financing and implementation, and I focused on between Nepal and Brazil. So, financing and implementation will be compared between the underdeveloped country of Nepal and the developing country of Brazil. Nepal is an underdeveloped country with a big population of Nepalese who live in poverty. This means that Nepal's government will need a lot of money and resources to support the health needs of the Nepalese citizens. Since the country is underdeveloped and most Nepalese are living in poverty, this can affect their access to health care as well as the resources that are available to them. Although money and resources play a crucial role in underdeveloped countries like Nepal, developed countries such as Brazil still rely on receiving adequate healthcare services. Brazil, however, is at an advantage with these resources, such as they have more financing for healthcare between individuals. Looking at humanitarian efforts between all three of my countries, Nepal, Brazil, and Ireland all share the same efforts through mental health. So, looking at the underdeveloped country of Nepal, many children and adolescents suffer from mental health disorders. Actually, 10 to 20% of children and adolescents suffer from mental health disorders, which half of them starting by the age of 14. Looking at the developing country of Brazil, they are considered a world leader and in anxiety and depression rates. Brazil leads the world in prevalence of anxiety disorders and ranks fifth in depression rates. Looking at the developed country of Ireland, mental health is still present and is an issue as of today. Although Ireland is a developed country, they are one of the highest rates of countries with mental illnesses. However, Ireland does have many services and resources to help individuals with mental health. So, the developments of a country do not necessarily justify whether or not mental health will be present or not. We can conclude that each country faces challenges with mental health between the three that I have talked about. So, moving ahead, we have health priorities between Nepal, Brazil, and Ireland. Each country has their own greatest health concern. Comparing all three countries, their priorities differ as they advance or if they regress. Each country has sustainable goals and developmental goals that target their health concerns as a whole. Moving along to my final thoughts of my presentation. So, I think that we can conclude that based on the developmental status of certain countries, leaves them to have advantages and disadvantages through different factors. We can also conclude that based on their developmental status of a country doesn't always necessarily mean that they won't face the same factors or implications that are different from the developmental status of their own. Thanks for listening.